Hello, great minds. My name is Chukwemeka Michael Basi. I'm a mathematics graduate with over 10 years of teaching experience. And within these 10 years, I've been able to teach math to students in the primary school, junior secondary, and senior secondary school, alongside with further math. And currently, I'm teaching the quant section or the math section of SAT and GRE. Of course, to students in Nigeria, America, and other countries. So, guys, I'm so excited to be here, and I'm so excited to be walking you through all of these questions we have into this lesson one step at a time. So all I need you to do is to spare 10 minutes of your time, be attentive, and go get your writing materials. All right, so I'm sure you have writing materials and you're good to go. So let's get started. Now, the quick thing we want to do is to highlight most of what we discussed in the previous class, and from there we can get started, right? In the previous class, we discussed basic principles of algebra. We talked about the difference between algebraic equation and algebraic expression, which is just something like this. For example, if you have x plus 2, and here you have maybe x plus 2 equal to something equal to 5. This one here is algebraic equation, and this is algebraic expression. You know why? Because of the principle of equality sign, equal equation. So algebraic equation. This one does not have the equality sign. It's just an expression. I just want to be very, very fast with the highlight, and let's move on to the. And the other thing we discussed in the previous class was substitution. Sometimes when you're given an algebraic expression, let's say for example you're given 2x plus 3y, and they went further to give you the values of x and y. Let's say x is 1 and y is 2. In this case, you're substituting. Now you're going to replace x to be 1. That would be like 2 times 1, and here will be like 3 times 2 because y is 2. We also discussed that algebra tells you the relationship between a number and a variable. Like for example, the relationship between 2 and x is multiplication. 2x simply means 2 times x. 3y simply means 3 times y. So that is why when you replace these algebraic letters or these variables with their right numbers, with the given numbers, you have to do the multiplication alongside with it. I hope it's clear. So this is going to be like 2 times 1, which is 2, and 3 times 2, which is 6, and that is just 8. So these are most of what we discussed in the previous class. I'm just kind of doing a quick recap on those particular concepts. So now let's get started with today's class, what we're going to do today. I want to introduce you to what we're about to do today. For example, if you're given this arithmetic expression, maybe 3 plus 2, of course, everybody in this class or everybody watching this video should know what 3 plus 2 is, right? 3 plus 2 is actually going to be 5, right? But then if I decide to replace one of these numbers with a variable or with an alphabet, let's say x. So I replace 3 with x. So I have x plus 2 equal to 5. Or maybe I replace the 2, the 2 with x, okay? And that is 5. However you want to do it. Now, for you to introduce a letter, you've made this guy an algebraic statement. So this is now an algebraic equation. You can see algebra is simply just replacing a letter, replacing a number with a letter or a symbol. That is what algebra truly is. So however it's going to be, you know s is going to be 3 in this equation, and here you know s is going to be 2 in this equation, right? It makes sense. So that is exactly what we are going to be doing into this class. Perfect. So let's go to work. Now, the very first question we have here is v plus 9 is equal to 16. Now, what do we do from here? How do we get that number that when you add 9 to 8, you get 16? Of course, the number is 7, but how do we work it out? How do we get 7? Now, I'm going to show you how to do this question in two different ways. I'm going to show you how most Nigerian students solve this problem and how most British student or American student would solve this problem, or UK student would solve this problem. Now, let me start with my favorite, which is the Nigerian style. So if I have v plus 9 is equal to 16. Now, what we know in this particular problem, the Nigerian style, we know 9 is positive, or 9 is having the sign positive. 9 is having the positive side. So we know we cannot add 9 to v because they are not like 10. This is an alphabet, this is a number. We can't add them together. So we need to take the 9 to its like 10, which is 16. And now if we take 9 to this side, because 9 is positive here, when it crosses the equality sign, or maybe inequality sign, it's going to change to negative. So in other words, when a positive crosses the equality sign, it changes to negative, and when negative crosses over, it changes to positive. That is just the principle. So now when you do that concept, you're going to have 16 minus 9 because positive 9 has moved over to this side to become negative 9. And 16 minus 9 is just going to be 7. So now, how most students in America, UK, Canada would want to solve this problem? They use what we call the additive inverse. Now you have positive 9. What is the additive inverse of positive 9? That is negative 9. In other words, what will you add to 9 to make it 0? That is negative 9. For example, you have plus 2. What would you add to this guy to make it 0? That is negative 2. Because positive 2, negative 2 will give us 0. So how do you eliminate 2? Is to just add negative 2 to 8. Does it make sense? All right. So in this problem, we have v plus 9 equal to 16. We want to eliminate 9 from this left-hand side. Just so that you know, before the equality sign, just like this is my left-hand side, everybody here is left-hand side. Then after the equality sign, everybody here is right-hand side. Take note of it. Now, the idea is, we cannot add v and 9 together. You know that. We have to take 9 to its like 10, which is 16. So how do we now remove 9 from this position? So we need to eliminate 9. So to eliminate 9, you need to subtract 9 from both sides, right? Because the additive inverse of 9 is negative 9. And the additive inverse of negative 9 is positive 9. I hope it makes sense. So if I subtract 9 from both sides like this, see what's going to happen. Positive 9 minus 9, this goes to 0. So I just have v. And 16 minus 9 is just 7. So which one do you prefer? Put it down in the comment section. Is it the Nigerian style or what most people in the UK, America, and other most countries would want to do? Which one do you prefer? I prefer the Nigerian style. Right? Let's just see what you have in the comment section. So let's go to the next question. Question 2. We have x minus 11 equal to minus 16. Nigeria will want to take this to the other side. So we have x equal to minus 16 plus 11. You know why we're taking this guy to the other side? Because we cannot remove 11 from x. They are not like terms. So we're actually doing what we call collecting like terms. So minus 16 plus 11, that's going to give us what? You're having minus 16 plus 11. Now, this is one way I always explain this concept. I like to use, most people use the number line to explain this, but I like to use your owing and your have because that's what most students do on a daily basis. They go to the school store and they buy things with the money they have. So that is how I like to explain it. Now, look at this concept. You have you're owing negative 16. Whenever you see minus, it means that is what you're owing. And whenever you see plus, that is what you have. So negative 16 plus 11 means you have 11 and you owe 16. Of course, in math, we don't lie. When you paid 11 to the person you're owing 16, you've not completed your payment. You're still having some balance to pay. And that's your answer is going to be negative 5 because you still have 5 more to pay. Does it make sense? You just paid 11. You're owing 16. You just paid 11. You've not paid completely. You still have 5 more to pay. That's why it's negative 5. So this is negative 5 right here. I don't know if it's making sense, right? So that is the answer to this problem. So you can also go and check your answers. You put in the values you solve for and you get your answer. That's another way to go ahead and find your answer. Now, the UK people will want to do it this way. X minus 11 equal to minus 16. Now, what's the additive inverse of minus 11? That's positive 11. So we're going to add positive 11 to both sides like this. So this cancel out. So you have X and minus 16 plus 11, that is minus 5. Straight up. Like I said, tell me what the one you prefer in the comment section, okay? So let's go to the third question right here. At this point, I would advise you to pause this video and try out question 3 by yourself, okay? And once you're done, you can now resume the video and see how we're going to solve it together. So we have 30 equal to a plus 20. Of course, right now, a and 20, they are not like terms. So we need to take 20 to the other side of the equation, which is the left-hand side, right? So, and it is positive, right? So when it goes over, it becomes negative. So you have 30 minus 20 equal to a. And that will give us 10 equal to a. So a is just equal to 10. Straight up. Now, if you don't want to solve it that Nigerian style, you can go ahead and do the other way around, which is a plus 20. What do you do from here? This is this is 20. You want to take 20 out from this right-hand side. So you kind of subtract 20 from both sides because that is the additive inverse of positive 20, right? Are you getting this stuff? So 30 minus 20 is just 10. So A is equal to 10. So we have question 4. For the very first step question the one-step equation, question 4 is the last of them. So we have 2A is equal to minus 52. Now, this one is very different because this one is going to work, is just a step towards what we want to go next, what we want to go in next. So now, if you look at this stuff very well, this is not the same as 2 plus A equal to minus 52. Take note, these two are not the same. In this case, the relationship between 2 and A is addition, right? But in this case, the relationship between 2 and A is multiplication. Take note. So here, what you do here, you're going to subtract 2 from both sides, right? You're going to subtract 2 from both sides, or you say A is equal to minus 52 minus 2. That is what you're going to do here. And that will give you minus 54, right? But in this case, how are you going to solve this problem? You're not going to subtract 2 from both sides because the relationship between 2 and A is multiplication. Now, the inverse of multiplication is division. So for you to get rid of 2 from A, you have to divide 2 for both sides. So that is how to go about it. So you need to divide 2 on both sides. Now look at A. A here is the variable, 2 here is like the coefficient. So you divide both sides by the coefficient of A, which is 2. So when you divide here by 2, divide here by 2. So this cancels out. A is equal to negative 52 divided by 2 will give us 26, right? That's the answer to this problem. Does it make sense? You see, these two guys are not the same, right? They are not the same. Like I said, if you have questions anyway, just make sure you go ahead and put it down in the comment section. Now, this is the last part of this video, which is the two-step equation. And once we're done with this video, I believe you go to our website, which is sparklearn.net, and you go get some questions and practice for yourself, okay? So now, two-step equation is the next thing we want to do right now. So we have 4x minus 20 equal to minus 8. What do we do from here? For here, the first thing we want to do is to collect like terms, right? Now I want to take negative 20 to the other side. So you have 4x equal to minus 8 plus 20, right? Like you're adding 20 to both sides. And that will give us 4x equal to, what is minus 8 plus 20? You owe 8 and you have 20. So when you pay the 20 to the person you owe 8, you have a balance of 12 because you've paid completely and you still have more left for yourself. Does it make sense? So now at this very point here, this next line, you're having 4 times x, which is 4x, equal to 12. So the relationship between 4 and x is multiplication. To get rid of 4, you have to divide both sides by 4. Or you can also think of it like x is the variable, 4 is the coefficient. You divide both sides by the coefficient of x, which is 4. So you're dividing both sides by 4 like this. Finally, this 2 will cancel out. 4 divided by 4 is 1. So now you have x equal to, what is 12 divided by 4? That is 3, right? So the next question here is kind of different from what we've been doing all through. This one is very unique, although you can go ahead and divide 4 from both sides here. But now I'd like to teach you how to distribute. Now, when you have a question like this, what you want to do is to remove the bracket. That is what you want to do. Remove the bracket. How do you remove the bracket? Use the 4 to distribute like this. Okay? So 4 times 2x. That is going to be 8x. Whenever you have 4 and the bracket like this, it actually means multiplication. Okay, it means multiplication. So that's why I'm multiplying 4 times 2x, and I'll now do next is 4 times minus 6. Does it make sense? So it means multiplication. So this 4, the relationship between 4 and these guys in the bracket is multiplication. So 4 times 2x is 8x, right? Now, 4 times negative 6 is negative 24, right? Equal to 16. Now you want to now take negative 24 to the other side. So it becomes what, class? It becomes positive 24. And that will give us 40, right? That will give us 40. 16 plus 24 will give us 40, right? So we have 8x equal to 40. So the next thing we want to do is to divide both sides by 8. You know that, right? And that will give us x is equal to 5. So the last question here is question 3. Where is question? Okay, this is question 3. This is the last question for today. So we have 4 minus 2x equal to 10. What's the first thing to do? Collect like term. So you have negative 2x equal to 10 minus 4. Now you can see this 4 here, the sign actually is positive, even though it's not written there. When a number does not have any sign attached to it, it's just negative, it's just positive. But if it's negative, you're going to see negative. So you can also have it as negative 4 minus 2x equal to 10. So in this case, 4 is negative. But when you have it as 4 negative 2x equal to 10, in this case, 4 is positive. Okay, so that means it's not written, but it's positive. Okay, good. So here you have negative 2x is equal to 10 minus 4 is just 6, right? For me, what do you do, class? You divide both sides by, not by 2. You're not dividing both sides by 2. You divide both sides by negative 2 because that's the coefficient of x. You want to take out everything beside x. So you divide both sides by negative 2 and not just 2. So you divide here by negative 2, you divide here by negative 2, right? So the negative cancel the negative, the 2 cancel out the 2, so you have x, and 6 upon negative 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3, so 6 divided by negative 2 will be what? Negative 3. So I think that will be all for today. Let me see if we still have more questions down the line. Okay, I think that's the last question. So it was very quick. I don't think it's up to 10 minutes or so. So now we are done with walking you through all of these questions we have into this lesson. The next thing is for you to go on the website sparklearn.net and then you do more questions for yourself so that you become much better. Okay? Thank you very much for watching. I'm sure you find value from this video. If you do, let me know in the comment section and I can't wait to see you in the next class. Have a wonderful day and God bless you. Bye-bye.
Wow, that was a lot. I'm sure you learned about different aspects of algebra and algebraic reasoning. Now, remember, you've been assigned some problems to complete, so please go ahead and complete those problems. And you can turn them in through email, you can turn them in through our website, our Teachable website. But we want you to do the problems, review the concept, and then come back the next day ready to learn. Keep learning, keep growing. We're excited to provide support for you in your math education and in your education journey. Thanks for watching and have a blessed evening.